To begin with, hostess Nalini Bhatt will take us into that delightful world of Prashanti. Let's see.
Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food. Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food. Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food. Love is my form, truth is my
We at Prashanti offer our humblest pranams at the most sacred lotus feet of Bhagwan Shri Sathya Sai Baba. Welcome brothers and sisters, this is Nalini. In the previous segment of Prashanti, we watched how Satya was punished by his brother Sheshamaraju for having gone away to the fair, leaving the burden of all the household chores on his brother's wife and her mother. On hearing the incident, Satya's father came to Sheshamaraju's house. Feeling extremely sad, he asked Satya to come home with him. Satya refused, saying he cannot inconvenience his brother's family. So father had no choice but to comply with Satya's words. After making sure with the shopkeeper Kotte Subarna that if Satya needed any clothes, he would give them to Satya and he, Satya's father, would pay for it later. So Satya stayed on in Sheshamaraju's house. It was at this time that Baba's poetry writing skills made him a much sought after boy in the town. To quote Baba, having heard of my uncanny ability to write lovely poems, the shopkeeper Kotte Subarna came to my school and requested me to write a poem about the new medicine he was selling called Balabhaskara, so that it will get some advertisement. Thus started a series of poems which Satya wrote not just for shopkeepers to sell their goods, but also to bring to books some villagers who had taken to wrongful doings. Let's watch. Baba himself has spoken extensively about the poems he used to write, and I paraphrase. Those days, the way of advertising was such that on a piece of cloth a poem would be written and the boys would hold it attached to a stick and go around singing the song. My poem for the medicine Balabhaskara that Kotte Subarna was selling went thus. Here is the medicine called Balabhaskara. It has come from the distinguished physician Gopalacharya. It will cure anything. Go and buy it. It is available at the shop of Kotte Subarna. The boys sang this poem and the sales of the medicine were a huge success. So other shopkeepers started coming to me with the request to write poems for their goods. This news reached my brother Sheshamaraju. He told me, "You are doing a lot of business here. You are having holidays. You should go back to Puttaparthi." Even in Puttaparthi, I continued to write poems. You might have read in Satyam Shivam Sundaram that there was a village accountant, the Karanam. He had 2 wives. He was a wealthy person and he would spend the money in bad ways. I used to write poems condemning his acts and teach the boys who would go to the front of his house and sing them. The song would go thus. Do not go and spend your money on prostitutes. Your own people will abandon you and friends will hit you with their chappals. The Karanam would wear an expensive wristwatch and also fine silks. What has happened to the men and women of these days? Men are sporting flashy wristwatches and women have given up the tradition of decorating their foreheads with big bindis. Both men and women are behaving in peculiar ways. Also, it has become a fashion for men to grow long mustaches and bring it close to their nose like French cut. It was called Hitler's mustache. The boys sang the poems written by me and the Karanam was so humiliated that he removed his mustache. Those days, the struggle for independence was going on fiercely. Wherever there were meetings, the British police would come and break up those meetings. A few congressmen learnt that I wrote poems, so they told me, "Write about the present situation in India. We will use them in a meeting in Bukkapatnam." After I wrote the poems, they wanted to take not only the poems but they wanted to take me there. So they dressed me like a girl, draped a sari, and put a small baby doll in a jhula made of cloth and took me to the meeting. The poems I wrote addressed the baby. Are you crying because Hitler has invaded the Russians? Or are you crying because the Russians could not attack Hitler in return? Don't cry. When the time will come, the Red Army will attack Hitler. Or are you crying because there is no unity in our country? Don't cry. When the time comes, all will be united. As I sang these lullabies to the baby doll, the police also started enjoying the singing and joined in. Seeing everyone singing, the British people, not knowing what was going on, started clapping to the rhythm. The meeting became a tremendous success. Thank you for watching Prashanti. Jai Sai Ram.
Love is my form, truth is my breath, bliss is my food.
We at Prashanti offer our humblest pranams at the most sacred lotus feet of Bhagwan Shri Sathya Sai Baba. Welcome brothers and sisters, this is Nalini. In a span of just 85 years, Shri Baba compressed an eternity of precepts to live by for a happy, healthy and spiritually enlightened life. Baba's life and his earthly sojourn were but a fleeting glimpse into his vast divinity. But to those who touched, Bhagavan is a phenomenon that occurs only when God himself decides to come down as an avatar to uphold dharma and to protect the righteous. In earlier features of Prashanti, we shared the detailed account of Baba's life, his miraculous birth, his extraordinary childhood, and the deep bond he shared with his grandfather. But to celebrate his 100th birthday, to honor Baba's legacy, we revisit some of the important landmarks that illuminate Baba's innate divinity. Today, let us explore an interesting episode that happened when a teacher at Baba's school punished Baba unjustly. Baba's childhood friend and a classmate at this time, Shri Sathya has spoken about this incident. Let's watch.
A rare treat. A trip to the village of Bukapatnam, about 4 or 5 miles from Puttaparthi, India, where Shri Sathya Sai Baba as a child went to school here in an old schoolhouse where this building now stands. Satyanarayana is said to be Sai Baba's only surviving classmate from that era.
Swami was 13 or 14 years old at that time. Swami was in Kamalapuram and he came to school at Bukapatnam for only 1 year. Yeah, he was a friend of Swami right from childhood. It is not something he has read and learned, but he was doing it all along. And he gave a little example, and the example was when one time this teacher asked them to do some homework and bring it, and 2 kids did not bring it, Baba and Mr. Satyanarayana.
Satya remained quietly standing on the bench, calm and composed, as the school bell rang, signaling the end of the period and the arrival of the next teacher. This teacher, who had unjustly punished him, began to gather his belongings, intending to leave. But to his utter dismay and to the amusement of students, he was stuck to the chair.
Both of them stood on the bench, and while they stood on the bench, the teacher, after teaching the class, he had to go to the next class after half an hour. He was trying to go to the next class, but he was stuck to the chair itself, so he couldn't get up. He was there witnessing it because he was also standing up on the bench.
Every time he tried to get up, the chair also moved with him. Just then, a Muslim teacher, Mehboob Khan, entered the class. A man fully aware of Satya's divine nature, he instantly grasped what was unfolding. Turning to the distressed teacher, he said gently but firmly, "Ask the boy to sit down." Reluctantly, the teacher asked Satya to sit down. Instantly, he got unstuck from the chair. Humbled and visibly shaken, the teacher apologized to young Satya. In time, He came to recognize the divine presence in the boy he had once punished, and he became Baba's devotee. This little divine prank was played out for a reason. It was a lesson in humility, a gentle but unmistakable reminder that divinity, when clothed in human form, still carries with it the power to awaken hearts and correct injustices. Srimati Nagamani Purnaya, an early devotee, writes in her book, The Divine Leelas of Bhagwan Shri Sathya Sai Baba, and I quote, Later, Sathya Sai said that he was not angry with the teacher, but indulged in the prank in order to prepare the teacher's mind to recognize his identity as an avatar. Unquote. Satya was truly detached from all kinds of desires, as was demonstrated when a clothes seller came to Satya's house. While everyone in the family enthusiastically picked their choice of clothing, Satya was content with what he had, or, if pressed by his mother, would take whatever was left over.
He was exhibiting miracles as well as great level of spiritual knowledge. And he was also helping them. All the kids and himself were convinced that it is God come down on earth, taking a form. Wherever he was, divinity was showing through, both in his behavior, in materializing things, and in his teachings.
Thank you for watching Prashanti. Jai Sai Ram.
Here is our dear Nalini Bhatt with her awesome segment called Prashanti. Let's view that together.
Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food. Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food.
We at Prashanti offer our humblest pranams at the most sacred lotus feet of Bhagwan Shri Sathya Sai Baba. Welcome, brothers and sisters. This is Nalini.
Previously on Prashanti, we showcased young Satya's talent in writing poetry and how it made him popular. Everyone was singing Satya's praise, and this made his brother Sheshamaraju jealous, for he also wrote poems but got no recognition. He thought, I must stop this. I must take him away from Puttaparthi. So he took Satya to Uravakonda, where he was staying. On today's Prashanti, we move to a new chapter in Satya's life in Uravakonda, where Satya's talents took on wings and soared. All that Satya loved, singing, dancing, writing and acting in plays, found a fertile land to flourish here. The play he wrote and enacted at 12 years of age, Do We Practice What We Preach, contained tremendous wisdom. The play was about a young boy who sees hypocrisy and blatant lies uttered by those who he revered like his parents and teachers. There was a total disconnect between their words and deeds. Satya's fame spread to several villages after this play with a powerful message. The town of Uravakonda is the stage where the avatar incarnate decided to unfurl the mosaic of his mission in the role of a Jagat Guru. Before we proceed to the story of Satya's metamorphosis, let us enjoy Baba's narration of a funny but amazing incident that happened on the school day fundraising event. Satya made history here by dancing in the place of a famous dancer, Rishyendra Mani, dressed up as a woman. He danced superbly and performed the difficult act of picking up a needle on the floor with his eyelids, while balancing a glass and diya on his head. His act was so perfect, not a single person in the audience came to know that it was a boy from the school and not Rishyendra Mani who had performed. Satya had gone with others to witness the plays, and he too saw this item by Rishyendra Mani. Later, he tried to do it himself, and to the surprise of all, he could do it without much ado. His act was so perfect, not a single person in the audience came to know that it was a boy from the school and not Rishyendra Mani who had performed. Nobody could recognize him, and the crowd apparently cheered for Rishyendra Mani. When a British chief guest wanted to pin a medal on Satya, he refused, for he was in a woman's costume, and he did not want to be touched by a man. It was not until the next day, when Rishyendra Mani was called on the stage, did the crowd come to know that Satya had replaced Rishyendra Mani. Here is a detailed account as narrated by Swami. Let's hear.
The school wanted to collect money in aid of making some buildings for the school. They invited a well-known dancer, Rishyendra Mani. They advertised and they sold tickets for that evening. But she could not turn up. The headmaster was very perturbed. I went to the headmaster and told him, don't worry, I will do the part of Rishyendra Mani. This dancer would put a bottle on her head. On the bottle, she would put a plate. In the plate, she would light a number of wicks. And with the plate, the wicks and the bottle on her head, she would be dancing and she would bend down, pick up a kerchief from the ground without any of these things falling down. This was the feat which she was performing in. I told the headmaster, instead of picking up the kerchief, I will pick up a small needle with my eye. You better announce that Rishyendra Mani will be doing this special feat. They accepted it. Then they brought a sari, they brought a plate, they dressed me like a woman. I was brought in an old rugged car. All the audience, some of them were sleeping, got up and they all became very alert. I came onto the stage. The teacher brought a bottle, put it on my head. Then another teacher brought a plate, put it on the bottle and lighted the wick. Because people may think the plate is stuck on the head. I went through the dance and I picked up a small fine needle with the eyebrow. And the entire performance was applauded. The collector, the Britisher, wanted to present a medal. I was conducting myself fully as Rishyendra Mani. I told him, no, you cannot touch me. I am a woman. Give it in my hand. The collector was pleading, oh, regard me as your brother. I was pleading, regard me as your sister. This went on for 10 minutes and the collector gave me the medal. The president of the district board wanted to honor Rishyendra Mani. He announced, I want to give this sari to Rishyendra Mani. Everybody was looking. Out of the audience came a young boy wearing a half knicker. Not a half knicker, half pant. The headmaster announced that the Rishyendra Mani is this young boy. Thereafter, I used to lead the prayers every day.
Thank you for watching Prashanti. Jai Sai Ram.